Hey everybody, welcome to Jazztruth. I'm George Colligan. Today we're going to just have a short lesson with one of the modes of limited transposition, which is the whole tone scale, and just some things I've been doing with it. It's sort of simple, but I think it yields some good results, and I like to think in terms of devices to be used in improvisation. Transcribing solos is really important, and listening is really important, and rhythm is really important. But I like to have, these what I call devices so that you can actually use them for your own purposes rather than thinking you have to use them in a dogmatic way. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the whole tone scale and the way that I've been kind of messing with it lately. So the whole tone scale is what we call a mode of limited transposition, which means that if you were to say do it from C, and then you do it from D flat, you go up to D, and you realize that it's actually the same notes. So there's only two whole tone scales. So it has this symmetrical aspect to it that jazz musicians like because you can do cool symmetrical patterns, like something like... It's sort of like why they like the diminished scale, because you can do lots of symmetrical patterns with that. Like I'm sure you've heard the those kind of things. So you hear musicians like Lee Morgan, Clifford Brown, McCoy Tyner use the whole tone scale. Horace Silver. They really like it, but I've been sort of thinking, okay, if you're using it just on, say, a dominant chord, and you want to do a symmetrical pattern, that type of thing, that's cool. But one, I like to sort of mix it up so that it doesn't sound so predictable. So something like... So that's how I try to approach it. But then I also think, well, you can use the whole tone scale not just on the dominant chord, but you can also use it on the tonic chord. So here's what it sounds like just using whole tone scale from the dominant. I'm using C whole tone scale, or however you want to think of it, on F minor 6. And if you have a progression, something like Night in Tunisia, that's where I hear people use it a lot, because you can use whole tone over that whole sequence, 5, 1. I mean, it's chromatic substitution, but you can use whole tone over that whole thing. So that's something you can experiment with. Just say take a minor chord and play the corresponding dominant whole tone over it. So D minor, your dominant would be A7. So that's something, and again, you can do symmetrical patterns if you want. That's a good way to kind of get used to the sound. Right? Just doing those types of things. But the thing about this scale is it's almost corresponding with the minor scale. So if you look at that and you think, okay, this is D minor, there's a lot of notes in there that work with D minor, with melodic minor. But there is a rub. That's the rub note. So you get this kind of rub in there that's, you know, that I actually like. Sometimes the rub notes are the best. And that whole idea of alternating dominant, tonic, you know, we've talked about this before in some of my other lessons where you have, you know, the Barry Harris thing where you have, you know, that's essentially the same thing. Tonic, dominant, tonic, and you can make that into lines. But this is sort of thinking of, it's kind of like thinking A augmented over D minor. So it's just a way to kind of break up the monotony. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, that's the whole tone scale for you. Thanks for watching, and feel free to tell me whether you like experimenting this way in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Remember to like and subscribe.